Google Hummingbird. Hummingbird had an estimated release date on the 20th of August 2013. Unlike the previous Panda and Penguin updates, which were initially released as add-ons onto Google's existing algorithm, Hummingbird has been cited as a complete overhaul of the core algorithm. While it's believed that many pre-existing components of the core algorithm remain intact, Hummingbird signals Google's commitment to an increasingly sophisticated understanding of the intent of searchers' queries with the goal of matching them to more relevant results. Google announced Hummingbird on September 26, 2013, but it had actually already been in place about a month prior. Whereas previous algo updates such as Panda and Penguin sparked significant reporting of lost traffic and rankings, Hummingbird on the other hand did not appear to have drastic negative impacts on the general web. It was largely understood as having a positive influence on the accuracy of Google's knowledge base known as the knowledge graph. In order to fully understand the purpose behind Hummingbird, it's important to first be familiar with the search engine feature it most heavily impacted, which was the semantic search and the knowledge graph. A year prior to the release of Hummingbird, Google launched its own knowledge graph. Not an actual graph, but rather a set of search features designed to provide quick and accurate answers to users without having to click onto actual websites, like the one you are seeing below. Prior to the rollout of Google Hummingbird, for the search below, I would have been presenting with a SERP containing links to numerous pages, which I probably could have learned the answer for myself. Prior to the rollout of Google Hummingbird, for the search of rules of football, Google would have presented me with a SERP containing links to numerous pages through which I could have probably learned the answer. Google realized this was slow and often an irritating process, even for users who were presented with relevant results. Google Hummingbird makes search quicker, easier, and more intuitive. So as you can see from the screenshot, I typed in rules of football, and instead of Google giving me 10 different websites, it gives me the little featured snippet, also known as a knowledge graph, at the top of the page on Google. From this knowledge graph, I can see the rules of football, or soccer if you're in America, very easily and conveniently. This is much more intuitive than having 10 different links, clicking over to each website and figuring out the rules of football, as per my example in this screenshot. So how does Google determine that these results reflect the intent of the searcher and adequately address the needs? This is where semantic search comes in. At the heart of Hummingbird lies the all-important concept of semantics or meaning. Even the fanciest computers aren't the cleverest. This is because although it's easier for humans to distinguish between two different yet similar concepts by virtue or context, computers can't do this unless they're explicitly told. Semantic search is the concept of improving search results by focusing on user intent and how the subject of the search relates to the information in a wider sense, or its contextual relevance. In a nutshell, essentially, semantic search focuses on determining what a user really means rather than a string of keywords and then serving relevant results. For example, if a user performs a search for the term weather, it's much more likely that they are looking for a forecast in their local area, not an explanation on the science behind the weather. So in this example, weather is the subject of the search, the desire for a local forecast is the user's intent, the difference between a weather's forecast and an explanation is in the concept's context. So how can you optimize for Hummingbird? Optimizing pages for Hummingbird is really simple. All you have to do is create great content that your audience wants and finds useful, and also enriches their overall experience. You should probably be doing the following anyway, but if you're not, now is an excellent time to start and make your website Hummingbird friendly. To give you some actionable steps, here's 3 things you can do. The first is diversify the length of your content. We know that long-form content can work exceptionally well as part of a wide content strategy, but if every single post you publish on your website is a 5,000 word monster article, you may not be meeting your readers' needs. For this reason, and to get something done rather than write a mammoth blog post, mix up the length of your content. Add shorter articles among longer ones, and don't be too pedantic when it comes to word count. Remember, there is no perfect post length, only the length an article needs to be. The second, use topic appropriate language. Something that sites fail to take advantage of is using industry appropriate language in their content. This is something done out of fear of alienating potential readers who may not be familiar with a certain topic or area. However, writing content that includes appropriate terminology can demonstrate to Google that your site is authoritative and valuable. Number 3, implement schema microdata. Implementing schema microdata can only be a good thing, especially with Hummingbird's heightened focus around semantics. As we discussed in the technical SEO section of the course, schema makes it easier for Google to understand what your website is all about, making it more likely for Hummingbird to place your content in searches for wider categories. Implementing schema can be a bit of a pain, but it could be worthwhile in the long run. In addition to making your site friendlier to the search engines, you're also providing Google with the opportunity to get your website featured as a Google snippet or in the knowledge graph.